This is a sample chapter from Fitton Books. The Handyman's Secret by R.P. Fitton, Chapter 2. Jones looked forward to fishing in Hamilton Bay with the Enterprise's publisher, Tom McGill. Jones, McGill, and Captain Kendall watched Lark's new outboard special as it skimmed Hamilton Bay's blue velvet waters. "He said he wanted to take it for a test run," said the bearded Captain Kendall. "I don't think Lark's ever piloted a boat, Captain," said Jones. "Well, he paid me cash out of the track winnings. He said he had used boats before." "Yeah, well, Lark says a lot of things." "What damage could he do?" asked the captain. "There's no one out there." Jones laughed and held McGill's shoulders. "I don't think you want him to answer that, Captain," added McGill. Then Jones turned back to the bay. He followed Lark's boat. Why would Lark want an outboard special? The captain shook his head. "Not Lark. Flo pressured him." Still, Lark is pretty cheap." Captain chuckled. "She used that magic phrase for Lark." "Well, what was that?" asked McGill. "Lark, it's really not your money, it's all gravy." "Oh, now it makes sense," said Jones. He caught sight of Lark's boat moving in circles over the breakers. "Hey, that's real dangerous, Captain." Captain's blue eyes opened wide. He checked his watch. "I told him no more than half an hour. That's way too fast. He's going to flip that boat." Lark's stomach nodded as the sea air pushed his hair back. "Oh, no!" "What's the matter, Lark?" asked Flo. "It would appear that we're heading for some boat out there in the distance." "Oh, Lark, that's too far away." "I think I'm getting the heebie-jeebies." "Oh, no, not the heebie-jeebies," said Flo. Lark's new boat was on a collision course with a drifting boat. Back at Hanson's marina, he should have accepted Captain Kendall's offer of piloting instruction. As the boat skipped over rougher water, Lark again gripped the jammed ship's wheel. On the lounger at middeck, Flo, her red kerchief flapping in the breeze, glanced up from her romance novel. He raised the binoculars and prayed she did not sense the impending doom. The old white and green boat, the only craft presently in Hamilton Bay, came into focus. "There's no one in that boat, Lark!" screamed Flo from the chair. She quickly steadied herself along the deck railing as Lark adjusted his captain's hat. "Not to worry, Snookums." He yanked the wheel one more time. Then he shouted into the wind. "Just a little navigational glitch." Flo covered her mouth. "The wheel is stuck." Lark flipped open the plywood supply chest and retrieved the bulky specification book. He thumbed through a few pages, frantically trying to solve the problem. Wheel, it must be under W, or it could be under S, for ship's wheel, or maybe steering. Lark, do something!" Lark dipped his glasses. He should have gotten new bifocals and not waited for the sale of glasses at Gizmo City. "Let's see, automatic navigational compression, ANC, dislodge, ANC activation throttle and replace command with overdrive secondary protector. Lark set the manual atop the storage bin near the railing and peered over the confusing controls. He pointed the binoculars through the salt-sprayed glass shield. Nobody was on deck of the green-trimmed boat. "What do you see, Lark?" "Well, the odds are we're going to miss it." Flo stood on her tiptoes as Lark searched through the ANC throttle unit till he located an orange rectangular plastic piece stamped ANC. He pushed the button without a second thought. The ship's wheel now moved freely after a sudden snap. "You did it, Lark! You did it!" "Well, I thought we were dead ducks, Snookums." Lark gripped the varnished wheel and prepared a course change. Now the wheel, although unlocked, spun freely. "Oh, whoops!" "Lark, the boat up ahead." "Oh, where's the radio?" As the boat bounced along, Lark stuck his head into the storage compartment, knocked his skull on the edge, and his captain's hat fell off. Unable to find the radio, he again reached for the manual on the railing. The wind lifted the book, pages flipping over the edge. His voice shook as he scooped up his hat. "The manual, it's gone!" He planted himself in front of the wheel again, adjusted his captain's hat, and squeezed the smooth wood, but the wheel rotated like a spinning top. With his clenched fist, he banged the ANC button, but nothing happened. We're stuck, I tell you." Flo looked through the forward glass shield. "Lark, there is another boat out there." The older boat that he had just seen through binoculars was now only a few hundred yards away. He He raised his thumb to align his position with the stray boat. "We're going to crash! I knew I should have put that track money in the bank!" "Well, we lucked out, Tom," said Jones. "That storm went way out to sea." "Yeah, it was a bad storm. You just never know." Jones nodded and inhaled the warm May air as McGill scanned the bay waters with the field glasses. Although the bay was only a few miles from the college, Jones already felt farther away. To his right, Captain Kendall steered Jones's rental boat past the vessels moored along the channel. Back at the bridge, along the highway, a woman next to a white off-road vehicle stared at the bay. "Yikes!" cried McGill. "What the hell is he doing?" Jones looked back at the captain. "The captain's bringing the boat back to the dock." "No, Lark! Matthias, he's headed for that other boat out there." McGill handed the field glasses to Jones. Lark's cruiser moved at an incredible clip, stirring up the foamy waves as it headed toward another boat. "He's going to hit that boat." "It's the only boat in the bay." Jones slipped the field glasses to McGill and then ran down the pressure-treated dock planks. The bearded Kendall guided his boat in. He threw out a long blue nylon rope and brought the boat closer to the dock. "Captain, we've got a problem out there in the bay." The captain stepped up to the dock and looped the heavy rope around the pole. "You spot some passing whales, Matthias?" "It's Lark." The captain squinted and raised his bushy brow. "What about him?" Jones extended his arms. "We just saw his boat heading toward another boat out on the bay." They scurried up the dock toward McGill in his beige Bermuda shorts. He lowered the binoculars and handed them to the captain. "Captain, he's going to smash that boat." Captain looked for only a second. "Oh, the maintenance free. That's Webster Howard's boat." "Webster Howard?" McGill leaned forward. "Thought he was deep-sea fishing after tuna." He motioned them down the dock toward the harbor master's orange and white fiberglass patrol boat. They climbed inside and he cranked the engine. Almost immediately they sailed away from the dock. The captain held the radio microphone.
"Lark or Webster, this is Captain Kendall. You're going to collide."
The captain maneuvered the boat along the jetties toward the open water.
"Come in, Webster. Webster, can you hear me? Webster, can you hear me?"
Jones leaned forward as the boat kicked into a higher speed. Lark's course toward the second boat looked like a demolition scene from a Hollywood movie. He pilots that boat like he drives his car. "Well, you got that right," said McGill, his eyes pressed to the binoculars.
"Lark, this is Captain Kendall. Come in. This is Captain Kendall."
The wind pushed Jones's brown hair back as they followed the green buoys into the bay. The captain scanned through his own binoculars. "Captain, why is he headed for Webster's boat?" "Because he doesn't know what the hell he's doing." "My fault. I never should have let him out there." "I see him," shouted McGill, looking through the binoculars. "He's trying to move his ship's wheel." Jones gazed ahead as the harbor master's boat raced into the open bay. But Lark did not change course and was about to ram Webster's boat, the only boat within miles. Why isn't Webster answering? "Oh, it's broken! It's broken!" Lark slipped on the deck near the ship's wheel. The green and white boat now loomed directly ahead, bobbing gently with every wave. Flo grabbed his shoulders. "You need to shut off the engine, Lark!" Right, shut it off! Now he searched for the key. He remembered starting the engine but had forgotten the ignition location. The older boat was perilously close as he ran his shaky hand under the panels. He felt the metal key and quickly turned it, grinding the starter. Frantic, he twisted it back and forth until the engine shut off, but the boat still moved at high speed. Through the glass, he saw the faded green letters across the old boat's peeling white bow. Maintenance free. Flo screeched in his ear, "My God, Lark, we're going to hit that boat!" She grabbed him and they dropped to the deck, nuzzled together against the front wall. After a scary silence and long anticipation, a loud crunch exploded into the sound of cracking wood. Lark's brand-new boat lurched upward. For a moment, he thought they were airborne. Something broke apart above, raining debris all over the deck. He shielded himself over Flo as his boat skidded and scraped bottom on the maintenance-free. They were now tilted upward and bobbed at an odd angle. "Are you all right, Snookums?" He squinted in the sunlit blue sky. The maintenance-free strong wooden mast had snapped into a twisted wooden splinter. "You saved me, Lark! You saved me! You're my hero!" Lark steadied himself as he stood, not sure just what he had done. He tensed his jaw. His glasses were still in place as he edged his way along through the debris to the railing. His boat had careened atop the other vessel. Stairs led below the maintenance-free, dull, varnished deck. Lark had seen this boat in the marina. Flo crossed the deck and held him as both boats continued to sway in the water. "I do believe this is Webster Goward's boat, Flo." "Howard." "Oh, yes, Howard. He's a handyman. I wonder if anyone else is aboard." He stroked his chin. Only one way to find out." "You're not going down there, are you, Lark?" He leaned over the railing and cupped his hands. "Hello, down there." "You think he's on the boat, Lark?" "No, sir." He squinted. "We're dealing with a runaway boat." "Oh, golly, Lark, you make it sound like a western when the horse breaks away from the corral." "I assure you, Snookums, no one is aboard this boat." "Unless we knocked him out or something, I hope you're not in trouble, Lark." Lark nodded. "Oh, you may have a point there, Flo." He walked to the box under the panels and pulled out the emergency rope ladder. "Lark, you're in no shape to be climbing down ladders." Lark raised his index finger. "A man's got to do what a man's got to do." Lark straddled the railing and lowered his bulbous body onto the unsteady rope ladder. He longed to be 25 years younger and 40 pounds slimmer. Rung by shaky rung, he descended the unsteady ladder and finally stepped onto the older boat's weathered deck. "Are you all right, Lark?" "I'm A-OK! A-OK! I'm going in!" "Please be careful." As he crossed the upper deck and uneasily descended the warped stairs below deck, Lark heard another boat engine. He nudged open the dull green door. A filthy fish odor filtered outward. Light from the bay shined through the dirty window and onto Webster Howard's body, face down on the moistened carpet. Curly dark hair stuck out of his orange and green baseball cap, and his glassy brown eyes were frozen. Lark recoiled when he saw blood on Webster's olive shirt and jeans. "Webster!" He resisted getting next to the body, but finally inched his way across the musty jute rug. "Webster! Webster, are you alive?" He studied Webster's dark beard stubble and strong set jaw. His mammoth fists were clenched, but his chest was not moving, even with no blood or wounds visible. "You're dead, aren't you? Say something! Say something! Oh, dear God, I've killed you!" "That's definitely Webster Howard's boat," said Jones. He held the railing as the captain pulled alongside the maintenance-free. "He was out after tuna." McGill nodded. "Good old Webster. He makes a living on things falling apart, but he can fix anything. Reshingled the back of my house last April. Nice guy. Funny. Good sense of humor. They say he could bring in a big tuna all by himself. Well, he must have come back early. Maybe he's still sick. I hope Lark didn't hurt him. How do you crash into the only boat on the bay?" "Oh, we'll put that in the Lark Larson archives." Lark's propped-up boat angled upward as both vessels moved with the waves. Flo, her red kerchief tied around her hair, ran to the side rail. "Lark's on Webster's boat! He killed Webster! He's below the cabin! He killed Webster!" "He what?" asked Jones. He climbed over the railing as the boat dipped into the water. He leaped onto Webster Howard's fishing boat. "Lark, it's Matthias!" He ran across the old deck boards. "Do you see him?" shouted McGill from the captain's boat. "I'm going below." Jones grabbed the edge banister and moved down the stairs, but he met Lark at the cabin door. "I killed Webster Howard. I need a lawyer. I need the Reverend. Let me hire you, Matthias." "Don't be so sure you killed him, Lark." Jones first looked at the small cabin's table bolted to the floor and studied the tiny stainless steel sink under a row of white Formica cabinets. Webster Howard's body was about 10 feet away from the lower cabinet's sharp edges. Next to the sink, a plastic cup had been placed on a black napkin smeared with tomato sauce and marked RL in purple letters. A coiled microphone cord dangled from a transmitter near the window. "What are you thinking, Matthias?" asked McGill, standing with his hands on his hips. "I'm not sure, Tom." Webster Howard's strong and callous hands, still tightened, lay solid on the jute rug. "Lark, did you see him on deck before the accident?" asked McGill. Lark, his eyes moist, raised his head slowly. "Oh, no! I thought it was an empty boat. Dear God, what have I done?" "I don't think you did anything besides crash into his boat, Lark." Jones knelt next to Webster without touching him. Behind the edges of an orange and green baseball cap, through the dark strands of hair, the dried blood of an expanded, gaping head wound indicated a more extensive injury. Dried blood was darkened like cake frosting on his shirt and jeans. Ripped portions of the rug were exposed at the floorboards. An open wound, but no blood on the floor. Both boats had been towed to the marina and secured a couple of 100 feet away. Jones watched the two orderlies carry Webster's body covered in sheets on a gurney up the dock stairs. Another man opened the rear of the coroner's station wagon. "Well, where's Pinky?" asked Strickland loudly into the phone. "Was he or was he not ordered over here? Then get him on his cell." "Pinky was bringing additional people for Clayton," said the captain. "Clayton's overloaded, George. That some kid named Everett Stubble was doing the Howard autopsy." Wendell came running out of the captain's office. "George, it's Lark. He's hysterical." "Wendell, call the Reverend or Father Gallagher. He's shaking with the heebie-jeebies." Strickland rolled his dark eyes. "Then get him a sedative." "Hello, Captain Moxie, yes." "Where's Pinky?" asked Strickland loudly into the phone. "Was he or was he not ordered over here? Get him on his cell." "I talked to Pinky an hour ago." "What do you mean he's busy?" "Right. Bye." Wendell headed back inside the captain's office. He and Jones started down toward the docks. "Look, Matthias, it's obvious. Webster was killed somewhere else other than the boat. R/L. Some kind of restaurant napkin. Never heard of it." Jones studied a billowing cloud just above the horizon. "Well, let's take Lark out of the picture." "Well, that would be a smart plan," said Strickland, patting his forehead with his handkerchief. "If Lark didn't collide with Webster's boat, the maintenance free would drift along the currents near the Paquonicket River." Strickland pointed north. "Kids' rafts, old boats, they always land up near the northern end of the Paquonicket." Jones produced a sly grin. "The heart of this case, George, is that cloud out there." "Why?" "We were supposed to get that nor'easter. It went out to sea." "Then Webster would have been lost at sea if he was already dead, and the storm would have sunk the ship." Jones turned and leaned toward the dock rails. "And I'll tell you what McGill said. We can assume that R/L isn't around here." "North or south?" asked Strickland as they retreated back toward the captain's office. Jones shook his shoulders. Inside the window, Lark stared out the side window with his mouth open as Flo massaged his shoulders. "I'm not going in there and listening to Lark's nonsense." "So much for our going fishing. What are you going to do, Matthias?" "I'm going back to my office before this afternoon's practice." "Matthias, what are the odds of Lark ramming Webster's boat?" "About the same as Jingle Bells winning the Ocean Stakes."